Hey, Jordan from Precondo here. Today I want to walk you guys through Radio Arts in Hamilton, a unique investment opportunity, as well as another upcoming launch we have in Hamilton. One of the questions I get all the time is, hey Jordan, I want to buy a pre-construction condo investment for my kids or for myself, or maybe it's something I'm going to move into down the line, but I'd like it to cash flow neutral, or at least come close to it. A lot of these launches with current rental rates downtown, you're going to be bleeding $800 to $1,000 or more a month in negative cash flow. Where can I get something that's like, $250 a month negative or neutral, or even a little bit cash flow positive? And to those people I say, look, you're going to have to look to tier 2 markets. Now, of course, you could go to areas like Calgary and Sudbury, but if you want to be within commuting distance of Toronto, that obviously doesn't help you. That advice isn't going to help you very much. Hamilton is my go-to place. Yes, I'm a little bit biased. I grew up in the Hammer. I think it's a great city, and I think it's come a long way, and it's seeing billions of dollars in both public and private development. So I think it's an interesting market to look at, especially when you look at the rent to price ratio being so much more healthy than the downtown Toronto cores. So first things first, let's just look at the House Sigma condo apartment trends for all of Toronto. You can see that the median price in April was $775,000, and the 10-year value change, 10-year growth was 105%. Year over year, you're looking at 11.8% over this time last year. Now, obviously, those numbers would have looked better pre-COVID. Obviously, during COVID, we saw prices come down a little bit. We've seen them rise relatively rapidly since then. Now, when you look at Hamilton's by comparison, you'll see that the median price for a condo is $587,500. So obviously, significantly cheaper than Toronto. And the 10-year change in price, the 10-year appreciation is 155%. Now, some people, that might jump out at some of you and say, holy crap, I didn't know Hamilton was doing so well, especially the condo segment. And it actually makes a lot of sense. As affordability starts to decline, the areas within commuting or transit distance to that downtown hub are going to tend to outpace the appreciation of the downtown hub, just as it becomes less and less affordable, specifically to first-time buyers, right? Hamilton is one of those markets. You see it in other areas too, right? Etobicoke and Scarborough, certain areas in Etobicoke and Scarborough, their 10-year appreciation average is much higher than the downtown cores. However, the downtown core is the most protected from downside when it comes to recession, or at least that is what we have seen in 2008. So Hamilton has that upside value of being quite a bit cheaper than downtown Toronto. Now, what's really interesting is the rents aren't that much lower. So the Toronto condos median price $775,000 and the median rent $2,350, which means that your annual rent as a percentage of median price is about 3.6%. By contrast, Hamilton's median price is $587,000 and the median rent is $2,100. So you're looking at a 4.3% annual rental yield versus median price. So from a cash flow perspective, of course, anything you purchase in Hamilton is going to look a little bit better on that monthly cash flow statement. And in terms of new launches, obviously Toronto, if you've seen my other videos, Toronto's getting incredibly expensive to develop in. You have inclusionary zoning, where every development has to include affordable housing. You have bathtub foundation policies, which is the foundation policy that requires all high-rise developments to bathtub their foundation. And so you're seeing Hamilton launch at $1,000 to $1,100 a square foot, and you're seeing Toronto launch at $1,500 to $1,800 a square foot. So let's talk about this particular site. So this site is by Canlight, and it's right on King and Carolyn, right? So right near Hess Street. As someone who grew up in Hamilton, I've spent more hours than I care to admit around these neighborhoods. Lots of great restaurants, lots of great pubs and bars. It's a really vibrant area of downtown. This is Radio Arts here. One second, if I could just get it to light up. So it's a boutique building, 14 stories, 120 units. And obviously one of the things we saw through COVID, I don't know why it's not loading here, guys. Give me a sec. Okay, we are back. So one of the things beyond just being sort of in the hub of downtown, it's a boutique building, which obviously if you've watched my previous videos, I like investing in boutique buildings. Part of the reason is because, look, if you look at COVID, for example, and you look at the top of the market versus the bottom of the market mid-COVID for condos downtown core, there are some buildings that didn't actually depreciate at all. There are some buildings that didn't see any correction, and those buildings tend to be mid and low-rise boutique buildings because they're predominantly comprised of end users, people who actually own and live in the building rather than investors. And obviously when sentiment changes, investors rush to sell, whereas homeowners don't really, right? And so you see that those buildings have held up the value the best, and generally too, they're well managed and don't run into maintenance fee issues and that kind of thing down the line. And then you're right here on King, right? So you have a future Hamilton LRT, which will take you all the way from McMaster to Eastgate in Stony Creek with a number of stops along the way. And then, of course, you're not too far from the waterfront. So you're sort of sandwiched between the West Harbor Go and the Hamilton Go Center. So you have two great transit options. And then, of course, one of the most popular developments that I've ever had on my website is the Pier 8 redevelopment coming from Citizens. So this is a massive master plan community on the waterfront in Hamilton. And you just know that when this thing launches, it's going to be north of 1,300 a square foot. So to be able to get into something like Radio Arts or West Harbor, which is coming up for, $1,000 a foot or a little bit more than $1,000 a foot, to me provides some pretty good value. So the developer Canlight, they have a relatively wide portfolio, founded in 1991. These are some of the buildings that they are responsible for. Like I said, they also do property management. And then Hamilton as a whole projected to be the fastest growing economy in Ontario, with 122,000 new jobs projected by 2051. So you have $3.4 billion committed in LRT investment. You have $500 million for the new entertainment hub. And then, of course, you have the West Harbor and waterfront redevelopment. And then you have a number of other infrastructure projects coming in the pipeline. So Radio Arts is either a 4-minute walk from the James or the Queen LRT stop. And then it is a 12-minute walk to the downtown GO station, or an 18-minute walk to the West Harbor GO station, or a 5-minute drive. Here's where Radio Arts is. So like I said, sandwiched between the Queen and James LRT station. And of course, you can get from all the way from McMaster to Eastgate and Stony Creek. So you get a 98 walk score. I hate walk score and bike scores and transit scores. But the reality is, if you know Hamilton, if you've ever been around, it's a pretty central location, surrounded by restaurants, it's a very vibrant area to be as far as Radio Arts is. You're just around the corner from Hess Street. And of course, transit is decent, but it's actually getting significantly better as well with the introduction of the LRT. You are also very close to the McMaster University, and you're pretty close to Mohawk College as well. So between the two of them, I guess the combined enrollment is 68,000 students. Here's a quick render of Radio Arts. So like I said, 14 stories, 122 units. It will sell out pretty quickly. It's launched today. So if you want a unit, go ahead, click the link in the description. Give me a call. We will get you one. The views are pretty decent. You're probably not buying any boutique building for a view. I tell people, if you're going to invest in a boutique building, you're probably going to be happy with that choice long term. The downside to a boutique is often the fact that you're not getting views, especially in Toronto. But in Hamilton, you don't have too much obstructing buildings. So the views at this particular site aren't that bad at all, despite the fact that, the highest you could possibly get is 14 floors above grade. Amenity wise, you don't have a 24-hour live human being as your concierge, and thank God for that, because that would cost a significant amount of maintenance fees. So the maintenance fees here are 64 cents per square foot. It is a digital concierge with facial recognition and all that good new smart home tech. You have a 5th floor co-working lounge and Wi-Fi lounge, in addition to your almost full floor gym and fitness studio. And then you have a rooftop party room and outdoor terrace. So, almost 3 full floors of amenities. The amenities chosen are low maintenance amenities, which we like to see. Suite features, 9-foot smooth ceilings, which I love to see. So many buildings in Toronto are now 8.6. popcorn ceilings. Really nice to see 9 smooth as the standard, especially for sort of your entry level boutique building in Hamilton. And the finishes are really nice too, right? So this isn't your student dorm room feeling like absolute minimum cookie cutter finishes. This is actually quite a nice standard finish selection. Here's just a render of the kitchen. And then finally, what you've been waiting for, the price list. So studios will start in the mid 4s, 1 bedrooms in the high 5s, 1 in dens in the low 6s, 2 bedrooms in the mid 7s. The vast majority of this building is priced below $750,000. And so if you're looking for an entry-level condo investment or something to move into yourself, this is a really good, affordable option. These days, you're not getting something in the 600s in Toronto unless you're talking about a 300 square foot studio that's going to come with significant challenges on getting financing. And so if you're looking for that entry-level product, this is a really good option in my opinion. And it's certainly going to be a type of product that is very easy to rent if you do want to go that route. And then in terms of incentives, we have everything we kind of want to see here. So you have free assignment, but I will mention where are we? Aren't we right across the street from the CRA? Where's the CRA building? That's a CRA building there. So you probably don't want to do assignment flips because they're going to be watching you from their windows. But you do have free assignments. So if you want to sell this contract before final closing, you can do that. You have right to lease during occupancy, which is of course important. An extended deposit structure that is only 15% down prior to occupancy. You have capped development levies at $8,000 for 1-bedrooms and $12,000 for 2-bedrooms. You have stacked parking at $40,000. Now, if you're not familiar, I'll probably throw a link with a picture of what stacked parking looks like. And then you have lockers for $3,000 and large lockers for $5,500. So kind of everything we want to see in an incentive list, and estimated occupancy in July of 2025. So look, I did some quick numbers here, just some quick estimates. $550K for a 1-bedroom, 30-year mortgage, 3% interest rate, looking at $1,850 a month. Maintenance fees, $320 a month, and taxes somewhere around $350 a month. So you're looking at a carry cost of about $21 a month. And comps, rental comps, pretty much directly across the street in a slightly older building, you're looking at $1,900 to $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. So essentially, between now and 2025 or 2026, when you'll more likely actually take occupancy, you need about a 20 to 25% increase in rental rate in order to cash flow, which is far, far, far better than what we're seeing in Toronto these days. So if you are somebody who is concerned with cash flow, if you're somebody who can't afford to bleed $800 to $1,000 a month, of course, when you're looking at negative cash flow, $800 a month in Toronto, you have to remember that when you account for your principal recapture, you're probably neutral on that investment before any appreciation. However, not all of us have $800 a month to throw into an investment, knowing that we're going to make it back on the back end. So for those of us who are more concerned with cash flow and want to make sure that this investment keeps itself afloat, this is a great option. Like I said, link is in the description and we will get you a unit. And that's it for this video, guys. I will see you guys next video.